Hi, I'm Mattlin from FBTWGaming and I've played a ton of Gigantic, as everyone on the channel knows. And let's talk about the tiers of characters in Gigantic. Now, this is my list. It's how I feel about different characters. Yours might be different, but mine comes from mostly solo queues, so take this with a grain of salt, and if you don't like it, comment in the section below and tell me where I made a mistake. So let's get to it. S tier is the top rank and is reserved for characters that can completely change or dictate the flow of gameplay. First on the chopping block is Darcy. What, you thought I was going to talk about an assassin? Hell no. Darcy is the nope machine. She's got the highest healing in the game. She's got buffs. Think about it. She gives armor to her entire team. 15, which reduces all damage by 15%, and she's also doing a ton of healing. So that you can't out-damage somebody being healed by a Darcy. She also has some of the highest health and armor in the game, so even if you try to fight the Darcy, it's a pain in the ass. As well as having a build that does more damage than a trip. Holy crap. The only way to stop her, theoretically, is to of course drop poison. However, she does so much healing, a shit ton, that dropping it to half only reduces it to a crap ton. She can out-heal most poison. And remember, she has the ability to get purity and cleanse herself, so even that is lowered. And if you decide to turn on her full steam, she can pop her ult, get 95% damage reduction and huge healing buffs, and have the best sustain in the game, period. She changes the flow of gameplay something fierce. If you're trying to outpoke range that has a Darcy, you're not ever going to be able to do it. You want to go after some targets that were low while running from you? Nope, there was a Darcy. Were you leaving a creature low so you could take it after a wound? Nope, there's a goddamn Darcy. Do you think that an assassin and a Darcy can take on 3 people at the same time? Abso-friggin-lutely, there's a Darcy. Played well, Darcy is one of the most annoying characters to have to fight. Speaking about most annoying characters to fight, the next S tier hero is Ramsey. Because Ramsey is a jerk. Oh, look at him. Not only is he a jerk, but his kit is a jerk. I don't know how a kit can be a jerk than an inanimate object, but it is. When I saw Ramsey, I was looking at it going, okay, if the Margrave is a warrior in WoW, and Zandora is a paladin, he's a bear tank. He's reliant on dodges, but he should have high bursts of damage hitting him, making it very dangerous to stay in a fight and not have, like, constant heals. I was wrong. He has the second tier highest health. That puts him on line with things like HK, Nasus, Darcy. That's how much health he has. And he has almost infinite stamina, if you build him the way you should be building him. It's stupid. His dodges are pretty much free, which means he hits you, dodge, hits you, dodge, hits you, dodge, has my RMB, gets my stamina, gets my E, gets my dodge. Holy crap, and he's got crack armor and slows and bleeds, and he can put out more debuffs than I feel like Zenobia can, which feels wrong to me. And his poison is 50 damage a tick, while Zenobia's is only 21. Clear cleanses can shut him down a bit, but he can just pretty much walk into a point with 5 people on it, dodge his ass off, hit you, do damage, and then walk out with most of his health. And he's still got enough stamina to run away and stop any retaliations. I feel dirty while playing a Ramsey. I'm like, I don't know what the enemy team is going to do to me. Hit me. Try. And whenever I'm fighting a Ramsey, he's running away with low health or something, and I'm playing HK and I'm lining up that perfect railgun. Every time I let go, he, without looking at me, dodges. And I'm going, why is this a thing? He didn't see me. He just, like, dodges off cooldown. Might as well use it. And he avoids damage. And he gets away scot-free. Ramsey. He could only be more annoying as if he had some sort of, like, slide, dash, or vertical mobility. Thank God he doesn't, but he still has his jump attacks, which lets him get to higher areas or change direction mid-flight. Ugh. The only thing that shuts him down really hardcore is a Paco. A tier are some of the best at what they do, and they can change a fight around. They can't change the game around as much, but each fight individually they have a huge impact on. I'm dividing it into two sections, A+ and A-. Simply said, there's a ton of heroes that I think deserve to be on the A tier, but some of them are more situational than others, which is more or less the minus side. At the top of the A+ tier list is Wu, because of course it's friggin' Wu. He is one of the best assassins in the game, not only for his high burst capability, but for his disruption and mobility, because mobility wins games in Gigantic. Why do I say that? Well, let's just talk about his combo. His Q interrupts, you can then do an uppercut, you have your splashdown which can crack armor, get another uppercut, you can reset everything using your E, get an uppercut and get extra damage. You can focus, get extra damage, give an uppercut. You can then go back into your Q, get an uppercut, splash kick if you need to get another kill, or just run away with that second splash kick. You can take a Nasus from full health to 0 with one of these combos, and it's stupid. Even without the focus, it does enough damage to pretty much force any character to either die or run the hell away because they have 0 health, or close to it. Wu is a monster. And then he has the most disruption. And we were talking about his Q, which is an interrupt, but then he's got the tongue. The tongue is amazing. It's one of the best abilities in the game to grab somebody and fight them on your own terms. Or your team's own terms. HK sitting on ledge, tongue him. Imani sitting out there, tongue her. Someone trying to run away low, tongue him. Wu, man. Next up is Beckett. Beckett is the queen of range damage. If you go refocus, you go on refocus, don't you? She pretty much has a focus up every single team fight. And it does a ton of AoE damage. And she does a ton of single target damage. She just does damage. She also has poison if you have a Darcy on the other side. She's got cracked if you have high armor on the other side. She also has the best escape in the game. That rocket pack puts her flying away. I don't put her on S tier because once that rocket pack's gone, she is squishy as hell, and she either has to out-duel you or she'll die terribly. If she's running away with low health and there's a really focused, dedicated assassin, they likely can chop her down. Rutger. Now, as soon as I say that, some people might get upset. I'm talking about Rutger if you remove his bugs. Currently, he has a bug that can glitch him out and allow him to do ridiculously stupid damage. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about his focus bug. I'm just talking about the base kit of Rutger. He is disruption. He is ridiculously tanky if you get someone to heal him. And he just does a crap ton of damage. Like, again, fighting against him, you don't think his slaps are going to be doing 400 damage in a couple of seconds. But there you are, you're getting the snot kicked out of you, disrupted, and he's got full shield. I don't know what to do with him. He's tough, he's tanky, and his damage is a little bit over the top. And when he's being targeted, what does he do? He just sticks his head in the ground like an ostrich, and you can't even touch him. It's great. Invincibility on a tank for a couple of seconds. Who knew that would be really powerful? I'm being sardonic. Our final A+ tier hero is HK. Yeah, he got nerfed, but it was his LMB that got nerfed. I mean, if you're playing Play of the Game Bastion, yeah, that's gonna be a huge hit. But you're playing HK for his mortar and railgun, right? Both of those were untouched, and they do some of the most ridiculous damage in the game. You land a good mortar on like an entire enemy team, they're down to like a quarter of their health. And if you land a railgun after that with the friggin' upgrades correctly, the charged shot one that is, you pretty much can take every squishy to like a third of their health. Period. And then there's Burn. What do you want from the little mechanical guy? He's ridiculous. And then you just use his other attacks as kind of like suppressive fire. And that's fine. The first A- tier hero is the Margrave. Now I did a whole pro grade with the Margrave video. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So, I've played a lot of him and kind of understand where he's coming from. He's a great disruption hero. He goes into a team with his leap, stuns them all, then immediately bounces them all up with his focus, and can completely change the tide of a fight. However, I think the disruption from Ramsey and Rutger is actually better. The other thing is, the Margrave's damage is good for a tank, and he's the only tank. Don't get me wrong. But the other two do a ton of damage, so they can easily kill somebody and don't have to rely on being beefy to absorb the damage from a team. Because if you have to absorb the damage from a team, I don't care how much health the Margrave has, how much armor, he's gonna get shredded. And the other problem with the Margrave is he's a liability right now in the game. If you use your Q, Rush, you will frequently snag your toe and get on a treadmill and not run anywhere. And if you're relying on that to, go into a team, disrupt them, then get out while your team, helps wipe things out, and you get caught, you're boned. You're done. And your E indicator frequently does not put you where it's aiming. You'll go low or you'll go high. Or sometimes you just go to the friggin' moon. I don't know why, but he's a liability right now. I'd almost put him at a B+ because that, but I love the man too much. Mozu is the hero to pick if you keep getting dumpstered by ranged comps, because her Arcane Vortex pretty much shits on them. You throw it in front of a team fight, and suddenly it's a one-sided fight. You get reflection, it's like a 2v1 fight then. Stupid good. I bounced Paco friggin' snowballs back on him and laughed. It's terrible. And with all the extra utility your Vortex can have, the speeds, the pulls, the bending of bullets around corners, Wanted style, she's ridiculous. And Dimensional Door is a great escape mechanism. Don't use it to chase, please and thank you. An Attractor Beam can slow someone down as your team jumps on them. She is a potent damage and utility hero. Well, only negative is she has such low health. But then again, Dimensional Door lets you pretty much leave a fight whenever the hell you feel like, so. Imani is a hard hero to pin down on this tier list, because she's very much based upon what map you get. Siren Strands, unless you have D, you're done. Ghost Reef, you have very limited lines of effect. If you're on Sanctum Falls, she is a god. Any other map, like she goes from an A- tier to maybe a B-, B+ tier. Imani does a ton of damage, but you got to be able to aim, which I can't do, so she really hurts. But a good Imani is frightening. She's gonna peg you, she's gonna get focused so fast you're not gonna be able to blink, but she's very susceptible to assassins. It makes her a super glass cannon, as the sniper should be. Uncle Sven is our final A- tier hero. Uncle Sven is a utility healer, heavy on the utility. His jump pads can let you rotate onto a point super easy and bring your whole team with you. And they can provide ridiculous extra buffs, including that armor bonus for being in his bounce pad. He also has one of the best focuses in the game. I mean, it's like Paco's ult and Zenobia's ult had a baby and just was better than both of them. I mean, it's instant cast, so you can't be interrupted. You can still do damage to them. Sure, they can move, but they can't attack or use any abilities. You can also understand that all of your abilities have a lob, which means you can throw your buffs across the map or hit things behind cover if you're really good with him. But that's not why you're talking about Uncle Sven. Hell no. You're talking about it because of the bullshit that is debuff immunity. And let's not mince words. Debuff immunity and cleanse is bullshit. And Uncle Sven gets it in spades. Pretty much you can have debuff immunity on your team for about half the match. That's how short his flasks are. And that is ridiculous. Because if you're playing like a Taito or Zenobia or anybody, Charnock, who relies on a lot of debuffs, he's going to shut you down. He can throw it first and have his team run through. Oh, you got slows? F your slows. You got poison? Well, guess what? I'm going to heal through your poison because your poison isn't affecting him. The only thing that could shut down debuff immunity is Curse. Curse suppresses debuff immunity. However, one of the Motigan staff on Reddit said that's not the interaction they want. They want debuff immunity to stop Curse. So, what counterplay is there to debuff immunity? If you're fighting a team that's reliant mostly on physical damage, which I don't even know what the hell you'd be taking, or fighting that has, like, no debuffs, then Uncle Sven moves down to, like, a B, B-. B-tiered heroes do their roles fantastically, sometimes better than anybody else in the game. However, once they get caught outside of those roles, they can very quickly be outclassed, outnumbered, and become completely useless. B+ tier starts with Lord Narcissus. Now, Narcissus has had a lot of nerfs recently, so he's moved down from like an A tier to a B tier. That doesn't mean he's bad. His bleed build is still ridiculous, and he can pub stomp like nobody's business. However, he's pretty much locked into one build, and if he gets focused, he pretty much can get shut down something fierce. Anything that impedes his movement is a death sentence to Narcissus. He has no escapes, and unless the team is there to back him up, he can very easily get stomped himself. Odin is a slick character, not just in his abilities, but in his gameplay. You cannot kill a good Odin. He's got a million tools to escape. His E has super jumps, it has debuff immunity, he's got that clone, he's got the immobilization, he's got a lot of damage if you let him be by himself. However, if you can send back an assassin, he's relatively squishy. Don't get me wrong, your assassin's probably not going to kill a good Odin, but he's going to get him off this sniper perch and get him to move and not be in a team fight anymore. Our final B+ tier hero is Trip, which I'm probably gonna get shit about putting her so low. But even before her nerfs, I still think she was only a B+ hero. She's an invisible assassin. And let me point this out, every invisible assassin always gets hatred from the community they're part of. The reason is they create feel-bad moments. Feel-bad moments are when you're like running away, super low on health, think you're safe, and out of invisibility you get shanked. That's a feel-bad moment. You're on your creature, and you think you're safe, and invisibility comes out of nowhere and shanks you. It's a feel-bad moment. Like, I have feel-bad moments, and I hate this, is still her ultimate, where you can, like, dodge, dash, jump, and it follows you to, you know, Narnia, as friggin' Zatori would say, and kills you, and you're like, that's bullshit, and I hate it. It makes me angry. But is she good? She can do a lot of sustained damage. Her invisibility is really nice for getting into a flank, but if you have a Serb, you can watch for her, or if you're just really good at seeing the shimmers, you can see her and kind of like rock her around. AoE kind of knocks her back and all that other fun jazz. You have to change your mindset when Trip is on the enemy team. However, you can counter it, which other assassins are much more difficult to counter, which is why I put Trip so low on this tier list. Our first B- tier hero is Aisling. If I had a B tier, I think I'd put her there, but I got problems with Aisling. Let's talk about the good things. Aisling has pretty much an upgrade for anything you want to do. Want to be ranged? You can be ranged. You want to be super buffy? You can be super buffy. Debuff immunity, speed, shields, healing. You got it all. Oh, you can also provide complete immunity to ranged for a couple of seconds on your Q, which is a relatively short cooldown. If you need something in a match, Aisling can provide it. However, her worst and best part is Kadar. For whatever reason, Kadar, as Satori would say, chases me to Narnia whenever I have an Aisling against me. Just all the way across the map. When I have a Kadar, he looks at the Trip standing next to me and is like, what do you want me to do about it, ma'am? I don't understand. Like, the AI sometimes can be buggy as hell and can completely shut you down. But then again, when Kadar body blocks you, it is the worst feeling in the world. Aisling also is the best character for opening up creatures. Even on freaking, like, Siren Strand, you can stand under the D point and throw him up there, open it up, and what are they going to do against you? You could just run away if Kadar dies. And that's the other problem. If Kadar dies, you have a 14-second cooldown unless you have your focus, which is a long time in a game of Gigantic. However, talking about her focus, for whatever reason, Aisling's focus fails me 99.9% of the time. I throw it down and it'll miss or do something weird and just get eaten by the ground, or I'll be killed before it even gets a chance to go off. I don't know. Aisling's focus feels real wonky to me, and that's why she's B- tier. Charnock is a hot ticket, but doesn't come very high on my list, mostly because of his regular attacks. They're charged fireball, which take a couple seconds to increase in damage, get to a second stage. and there's only one path for those to go into, and that's the flame damage, because the pick of fireballs are kind of bullshit at the moment. That being said, it's a slow-moving projectile, which is very easy to dodge. It takes a little finesse to actually be able to hit, much more than I think like a Odin or Imani need, and if there's any lag on the other side, you could just whiff at something hardcore. That being said, debuff immunity just makes a joke out of that build, which is pretty rampant in the game. All of his other abilities, you have to be relatively close to use. He's got a great escape on his Q, especially when you get the dive down and you can get up to like a higher ledge or something. However, once his jump is gone, he's pretty much a squishy, like, no escape target. He can pump out the damage at close range with his flame breath and all the burn damage that he can stack, but that relies on you being in a team fight something fierce, and again, almost every other ranged character I feel does this job better. A good Taito is amazing to behold. He'll flip in, do a dodge, get some cuts, get some bleeds, pick off a low target, and then just leave, and there's very little you can do about it. They are the rare cases, and I feel most assassins are easier to get the same results with than Taito. His increase to damage during the last patch was good, but not excellent. That being said, he is a lot safer of a pick, I think, than Nasus. Nasus has more potential to do amazing plays than a Taito, simply his damage and whatnot is higher, but Taito is likely to survive and probably be a better pick for a team, as in they won't get as much power from the, the inevitable cow deaths, and he can't get as focused as easily, but his damage potential is so much less that I kind of place him a little bit lower. Really, Paco should be a little low on this list, C tier. However, in my experience, the rampant Ramseys since his release, wow, say that 3 times fast, promote him up to a next tier, simply because, in my experience, he's a great counter. Paco has slows, he's got dazes, he's got stuns, he can really mess up a Ramsey trying to come in and out freely. However, almost all of his abilities are on a really, really long cooldown, and to be fair, his Q, which could be his escape, is almost always used for a damage tool, which means he has a hard time escaping, which puts him in this weird, like, tank fighter hybrid that Ramsey should be in, but Ramsey's so well elevated beyond that it kind of hurts Paco in comparison. C-tier heroes struggle to find their place in the roster. In very limited situations do they become great. However, almost all the time, another hero would probably be preferable to them. C+ tier starts off with Griselma, and you have to hand it to Motiga. After the patch, she's been played a lot more. 10% extra damage seems like a lot. Her hands can be really difficult to deal with, especially if you have a slap granny that just keeps healing them up. And on some maps, Ghost Reef in particular, if she's on your cactus and you have no way to deal with the hands, you can literally control almost that entire middle section just by sitting on that cactus and smacking them around for the whole map. She also has an armor break, but her kit is wild and all over the place. If they have like a Moza with a Mega Bolt, an HK with Pierce, a Zenobia with Poison, you can knock down her hands relatively quickly, and then she has almost nothing she can do against the enemy team. She's a little bit better like utility than Oru, but not by much. Speaking about Oru, since the patch has gotten a lot stronger, being able to clap someone down on low health no matter what after your focus is a godsend. He can do a lot of damage, and if the enemy team does not focus him, he can pretty much have his way with it. But as soon as the enemy team starts to look at Oru's gone. Let's be fair and honest. Kind of like Granny, if he has any focus whatsoever, he's got no escapes. Less than even Granny, he's just blown up. However, he can get a huge stun every so often. He's got a little bit of tricks to really make the team worry about him. But then again, so does HK and Ramsey and everything else, so why take Oru over them? Finally, we have C- tier, which starts off with Zandora. Now, don't get me wrong, I've seen Zandoras be able to pump out some good amount of damage. However, if they're not in combat, their ores decay. Her heal is shitty at best. Her speed boost is pretty good, but I've never seen it, like, save a team or move somebody around. All of these abilities can be done by other heroes who have more damage or more versatility, and it puts her in, like, this weird place. She is better than she used to be, but it's hard to fit her into a team comp unless you're, like, completely building around her. Zenobia is our last hero on this list and in this tier, which is depressing since I have a whole guide about her with her builds and everything over here where I gush about her for 30 minutes and say how much I love her. The problem is that Zenobia has a lot of problems. Don't get me wrong, her ability to sustain and be able to debuff and fight pretty much a whole team if they come one-on-one, as well as if you're playing new players, you can pretty much just keep rolling and just stay alive by your own healing, is amazing. However, she can get dumpstered super easily. She doesn't have high health, she doesn't have high damage, she has to rely on debuffs as well as sustain. And poison will knock her off of her feet. I know, I talked about Darcy and I'm like, poison doesn't matter. There's cleanses and debuffs. There's no self-cleanse on Zenobia. Almost every other, I believe every other hero with sustain or poison has debuff immunity or cleanses. Zenobia doesn't. Oh yeah, you can have a Sven follow you around and maybe you'll get lucky, but that's kind of a risky situation and not likely to happen that much. The second problem runs in that, well, she's also relying on debuffs. She can load up a ton of debuffs. She's got poison, she's got weakness, she's got bleed, she's got, you know, everything. There's a debuff, she's got a cracked armor. And all of that can be negated with a simple purity. Slows, doesn't matter. Like, a team that's coordinated can shut Zenobia off at her source. Sure, other characters can get the same thing, but then her other damage doesn't make up for it. And she can't escape teamfights. She has no mobility. She only has her Q, which might, if you grab the knockback, throw someone away for a second, and then they'll be back on your ass, and you'll have nothing to do but, you know, pray to Devedra that you survive the next 30 seconds. Well, that's going to do it for me. I'm Mattlin from FBTWGaming. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. And if you want to see more gigantic content, subscribe. And if you think that my tier list is off or I've made mistakes, let me know in the comment section below.